Agenda, and we are recording. Awesome. Right before I start with all the items, just a few tidbits of information that will make tonight go a bit smoother. Housekeeping. One, please leave your cameras and mutes and mics muted. Cameras off, mics muted unless you would like to speak. Number two, motions need to be moved and seconded. So to do this, how we're going to be doing it in a virtual setting, you will be typing move into chat. So I will just show that. And that is how we are going to track moving and seconding the motions. We will be also using a speakers list for the meeting. So if you would like to speak on any particular subject or topic, I would request that you use the chat function as well for this, and you would type speak as well as your name, and you will be recognized accordingly. And I've just done an example in the chat as well. Please keep your questions and comments on topic, and note that I will be loosely enforcing a 3 minute 3 minute limit for speaking. So just keep that in mind as well. Kind of to follow up with that point, keep the chat for to these actions in particular. So just typing move and speak. If you're having technical difficulties, please reach out to one of the GSS staff members and they can help you out with that. Please don't ask questions or put comments into the chat. Like to keep it relatively clean so that I know who is looking to speak and if there are any urgent matters to attend to. So let's keep most of the speaking out of it, please. Also, just on the same note, I will be using Zoom polls for the motions. You'll see them pop up, and I'll keep them up for about a minute or so, barring technical difficulties that cause a vast majority of folks not to be able to use it. But that is about the rough timeline I'd like to look to use. And finally, probably the bit that everyone else here is most interested in, the draws for the prizes will be held after adjournment of the AGM. So please stick around for that. And with that, we will move into the first order of business of the night, which is the agenda adoption. Be it resolved, the agenda be adopted as presented. Could I please get a mover and seconder? Thank you, folks. We have moved and seconded the item. Would anyone like to speak on the agenda adoption? And in this case, I do see a hand up from you, Brian. I would appreciate you still using the chat function, but go ahead. Okay, I do see that. So we have so on moving, Brian is putting a motion on the floor. I move that the agenda items 2.1 and 2.2, which are pertaining to the GSS executive year in review and the financial statements, be moved after 2.4 of the agenda. So moving after the appointment of the auditor. I'm assuming there's actually 2.4, 2.4s in here. Is that correct, or is this the one that you would prefer? Which one would you rather move it after? Right at the end. Okay, so after all of this. Okay. Can I please get a seconder for this? Thank you. In I'm hoping that this isn't super contentious. Would anyone like to speak on this specific motion, or is this a relatively inoffensive motion? What are folks feeling? If you'd like to speak, let me know. If not, we can move ahead with just a quick vote. Okay, I'm not seeing any. Uh, is anyone opposed to this? Maybe I'll just show of hands if anyone's opposed to moving that item. Okay, seeing none, just so that we can move this along, the motion is carried. We will move that item. Now back to the main motion. Would anyone like to speak on the adoption of the agenda? Going once, going twice, or are we all ready to vote? It seems like we're ready to vote. All right. In that case, I'm about to launch the poll and we'll leave it up for a minute. There you go. 10 more seconds. All right, thank you, folks. With that, the motion is carried. We now move on to territorial acknowledgements, which will be taken by or will be delivered by our president, Emily. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, especially because we're going to be voting on very special motions that will be including an Indigenous rep on the GSS Council. So, with that, I would like to acknowledge that we are so fortunate to be able to be living and learning on the traditional and unceded territory of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for that, Madam President. And in that same vein, or now that we have with you with the microphone, um, we now move on to introductions of the executives. So maybe I'll pass it off to the executives who would like to introduce themselves.
Yeah, I guess I can start it off. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Tang. I am your current GSS president, leaving office end of the month. And I guess I'll pass it to Aditi.
Hi, everybody. I'm Aditya Adhikari. I'm the Vice President of External Relations, also ending at the end of the month. I'll pass it on to Daniel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel, and I'm representing graduate students as VP University and Academic Affairs. And I pass it to Cesar.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cesar Landin. I'm the financial officer. I'm still going to be the financial officer until August, and I'll pass it on to Anna.
Hi everybody, I'm Anna Bakhtiajian. I am the current VP Students, also ending in just about a week or two.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. I think that was all the executives. And with that, we can move on to 1.1, which is our AGM minutes. Be it resolved, the following GSS AGM minutes be approved for March 20th, 2025. Could I please get a mover? Wonderful. Thank you, folks. Moved and seconded. Would anyone like to speak on this item? I think we've also had we've had a link put into the chat from Brian. Okay. I'll also bring it up here. If anyone has any questions, type speak. If not, maybe I'll give it a moment. Maybe just about 10 more seconds if anyone would like to speak. All right, seeing none, let's move on to the votes. So we have be it resolved the following GSS AGM minutes be approved at the date listed. I am about to launch the poll. And we'll give folks a minute.
Next stop, Wilson Street.
10 more seconds. Wonderful. Thank you, folks. The motion is carried. Now we move on to the matters for decision. I guess this is the new first item. Now that we've moved everything around, we have this 2.1 exception to AGM timing requirement for 2026. This has a be it resolved clause. So what I will do in this case is read out the motion. We'll get a mover and seconder. I will hand this over to our president to speak on briefly, and then we will take it from there. Not be it resolved that notwithstanding GSS bylaws 5.1.1, which requires an annual general meeting to be held during the month of March, the members hereby suspend the application of 5.1.1 for the 2026 AGM only for the purpose of permitting this annual general meeting to be validly held in April 2026. Could I please get a mover and a seconder? Thank you, folks. Would M or Madam President, would you like to speak on this briefly?
Yeah, hi everyone. So basically this motion is basically to suspend this section of the bylaw that says that our AGM must be held in March. As you guys look at the calendar, it's already April, which is why we would be requiring you guys to vote yes in order to suspend this part of the bylaw for the purposes of this AGM. And the other reason why we're doing this is so in order that to satisfy the BC Societies Act, which is a legal requirement from the BC government, our AGM had to be held at this month due to the 21 days notice that we have provided to the membership.
Thank you for that, Madam President. Would anyone like to speak on this motion? Give it about 10 more seconds. Okay, seeing none, we will move into voting then. So again, be it resolved that notwithstanding the GSS bylaws, which require the AGM to be held during the March, the members hereby suspend the application of 5.1.1 for the 2026 AGM only for the purpose of permitting this AGM to be validly held in April 2026. It has been launched. You will have a minute to vote. Thank you, folks. Five more seconds. All right. And with that, the motion is carried. Thank you for that. We now move on to 2.2, the appointment of the auditor for 2026. What we'll do as usual, we will put up or I'll read out the clause. We'll do it again where we have mover seconder, and then we will have Cesar speak to it. Be it resolved that the auditor Eric Ellis, CPA Tompkins Wandsey, appointed as financial auditor for 2026. Can I please get a mover? Wow. Thank you, folks. And a second in there as well. All right. We have the motion on the floor. Would anyone like to speak on this? Actually, Cesar, would you like to say anything regarding this?
Yeah, just so that GSS members understand this requirement, according to the BC Societies Act, we are supposed to appoint annually an auditor for next year. We have been working with Tompkins Boston for a couple of years now, and so they are pretty familiar with the operations of the GSS. We've had a good relationship with them, and we have appreciated the way we've worked with them and also the recommendations that they've provided to improve our internal accounting practices. So we want to continue with them going forward.
Thank you for that, Cesar. Would anyone like to speak on this? As per usual, I'll give it another like 10, 15 seconds. Don't think this seems contentious at the moment. Yes, Damon, you may go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just as a very minor amendment, Wozni is misspelled here. It's ZNY.
Ah, I see. Madam President, would you like to take this? Okay,
Yes, please.
take that.
Thank you.
No worries. All right. Anyone else? Thank you, Damon, for catching that. Okay, not seeing anything else. We will move on to the votes. I will launch it now and give you a minute to vote. Yes, you're correct about that, Brian. I do see that comment. In this case, please refer to the agenda as rather than the polls, given that I can't edit the polls from here. So they are as is. All right, thank you, folks. With that, the motion is passed or is carried. And we can move on to 2.4, which is the bylaw amendments. This has quite a few, this one has quite a few motions. So I'm going to quickly say them for the sake of having to say them. I will just read the be it resolved clauses. There are three different motions all packed into this one that are voted on at the very end. I will do this, and then we will open the floor to questions. I'll also I believe Madam President will be running through these or being able to talk on them briefly, and we'll take it from there. So the first motion on the table is be it resolved the following amendments be made to the bylaws. Bylaw 2.1.2.1, definition of a graduate student to include graduate certificate or graduate diploma program students at the University of British Columbia, Vancouver. Bylaw 3.1.1 to include graduate certificate and graduate diploma students into the definition of ordinary members of the society. We also have be it resolved that bylaw 7.2.1 be changed to include a graduate student representative from the Indigenous students constituency of the AMS. And we finally have be it resolved that bylaw 8.6 be amended to read as follows. 8.6.1, the executive and special officers shall receive honoraria in 24 semi-monthly installments as outlined in Executive Policies 15.1, provided that all duties pertaining to the position are performed to council's satisfaction. 8.6.2, the incoming executive and special officers may receive transition honoraria 2 weeks before resuming office. In addition, the outgoing executive and special officers may receive transition honoraria for 1 month after vacating office. These payments are made as per Executive Policy 15.2. 8.6.3, the honoraria of the executive officers shall be prorated according to the actual terms of office if less than 1 year. And 8.6.4, the honoraria of the executive officers shall be adjusted annually according to the CPI, Consumer Price Index. Could I please get a mover? Awesome. And a seconder? Thank you for that. Madam President, would you like to speak on these briefly, or whoever is designated to speak on this?
Yeah, I can. So, unfortunately, our CPC chair could not make it to this AGM, so I'm gonna take over and briefly share why we are passing, why we have brought these motions forward. So, the first one is related to the executive honoraria as per, so 8.6. Sorry. No, the first one is not. The first one is including the graduate student. Sorry, I'm gonna do it according to the motions. So, the reason why we're doing this one is because UBC has, previously, for as a backgrounder, UBC did not include graduate in the definition of a graduate student, diploma and certificate students have not been identified as part of that definition. Therefore, GSS was not in charge of overseeing the events and advocacy for graduate, certificate, and diploma students. Therefore, by passing this motion today, we will be including the definition of a graduate student on our GSS bylaws to include certificate and diploma students. Aaron, do you want to go to the next one?
Oh,
Okay,
it's all right.
sorry.
There you go.
Perfect. Thank you so much. This next one right now, GSS has executive. However, council has voted to move um, the executive honoraria to be part of the executive policy. And the reason why we're doing this is because currently all the executive policies, also all the executive responsibilities, are already on the executive policy. Therefore, it doesn't quite belong onto the bylaw. So we, by moving the honorary amounts to the executive policy, um, it's all, therefore it's all in one place, and council also are able to kind of monitor the executives performances as well as their honorarium basically. And the third
It's
one,
this one. Yeah.
so thank you. You're on top of it. This third one is to vote on the motion of including an indigenous student as part of the GSS council. And the way, and this is really important because we at the GSS believe in equity, inclusion and diversity, and therefore by formally recognizing, by designating a indigenous representative on GSS council, we're able to incorporate more indigenous student voices as a part of our GSS decisions. So hopefully you guys will consider three of these motions. And yes, thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Would anyone like to speak on any of these or ask any questions regarding the motions? Please type speak and your name in chat, if so. Yes, go ahead, Carly.
Yeah, just not a concern. Maybe this is the intent, but just the Indigenous Student Council does exclude all non-North American Indigenous peoples, um, from the constituency within the AMS. And so I'm wondering, would it be possible to perhaps just say self-identifying Indigenous graduate student? Or maybe the intent is just to limit it to North America, but either way, this might be a good thing to acknowledge.
Thank you for that, Madam President. You can respond.
Yes, I guess we can open the floor for Brian. Brian had a point.
Oh,
Brian can.
okay. Sounds good. Brian, you may go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. Yeah, so to answer your question, Carly, and maybe to give some background on this, I My name is Brian. I'm one of the GSS representatives to the AMS Council. As part of my consultation efforts with different constituencies, I met with the president of the Indigenous Student Society, Ethan Lyric, back in November, and he had indicated that Indigenous students on campus are wanting more representation on various governing bodies, and a big gap for this was with the GSS. So I offered a few months ago through GSS Council to put forward a bylaw amendment to this effect. It's basically mirroring the same structure that the AMS has in having the Indigenous Student Society decide for themselves who they define as Indigenous. And in this case, I believe you're correct. It does limit itself to North American Indigenous folks, but the intention is to mirror the AMS process and to ensure that the specific constituency has a graduate student representative on our council in this particular form. Hope that answers the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Would anyone else like to be added to the speakers list? I'll give it about 10, 15 seconds just to make sure we catch everyone's comments if they would like to make them. Five more seconds. Okay, seeing no other requests, I will now put the vote out. Given that it's quite a long motion, I hope you can forgive me for not reading all three of them, but we are voting for all three simultaneously. Please note. And it should now be launched. Ten more seconds. Thank you for that. Ending the poll now, and the motion is carried. Thank you, folks, for that. We now move on to the 2.3 GSS Executive Year in Review for 25-26. This is going to be a presentation from our executives, and yeah, maybe what I will do is I will put up the presentation, and then Madam President or whoever will be presenting, just let me know when to go to the next slide.
Thank you. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for gathering here again today. Right now we're just gonna kind of present to you guys on what the executives were up to this year and what things have we done for in the past year. We've already did in the land acknowledgement. However, I would just like to say again that I am acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people, and we truly are fortunate to be able to study and to live and to work on this land. So this is the executive team this year. So I was the president, Aditi was our VP external, Anna was our VP students, Cesar is our financial officer, and Daniel was our VP university and academic affairs. Next slide, please. Okay, perfect. Next slide, please. So this slide is going to be presented by Daniel. Daniel is just gonna take over.
Yeah. Hello again. For those who just joined, my name is Daniel, and I'm outgoing VP University and Academic Affairs. Starting with the major achievements of executive team. So one of the major achievements that GSS had this year was securing 40K for PhD students for 4 years. And this could not have done without the effort of previous GSS executives, GSS counselors, chairs, as well as QP 2278, AMS, and SUO. And while this is a big step, there are still concerns about the proposed model by the university, such as, so we received some concerns and emails about that, such as including fifth-year students into funding model, considering inflation for future years to ensure a sustainable model, and some discrepancies between departments and faculties and master's students' minimum funding. So it needs the continuous efforts from student societies for addressing these concerns as well. And the second service is GFSA. So mainly supports students facing unexpected financial hardship. With the current world situation, probably you're aware of that this service has shown its importance even more than before. And students can apply for this, and the committee decides if the candidate meets the condition to receive the funding or not. And the next service is the peer support. So students can reach us at the GSS and share their concerns and situation that could potentially affect their academic journey. For example, their relationships with their supervisor or anything related to that. Next slide, please. This year, GSS team could achieve and secure three external grants. So UBC Wellbeing Strategic Initiative Fund, so that one has been used for the workshops and events mostly in April and March. A Move UBC grant that has been used for free Zumba classes for graduate students, and Inspiring Community Project grant that has been used for the event and workshops. And this year, QP 2278 subcommittee was created to provide a better cross advertising and better alignment of the advocacy goals as well. And for other achievements, I pass it to the other GSS executives. Thank you.
I think I'm next. Next slide, please, Erin. In terms of food security, we've secured 134,000 in food security related funding from UBC to support graduate student well-being. One of our popular programs is the graduate student $5 meal subsidy program, which I hope a lot of you have used. We use that to support graduate students experiencing food insecurity and financial hardships, and added additional vendors and partnerships offering cultural foods. We've also collaborated with the Food Hub Market on campus to organize cooking classes that promoted budget-friendly meal planning and provided nutrition education while increasing awareness of Food Hub Market resources. Next slide, please. We've also worked on a few affordability projects. Our holiday hamper project has been very popular over the years. And this year, we also introduced a new project where we provided free basic kitchen and household supplies for students new to UBC, hoping to support the process of them setting up a new home. We've also continued the Graduate Student Baby Hamper Project, which provides monthly essential supplies for student families with newborns. Next slide, please.
Right.
Um,
And then, oh yeah, I will continue in terms of graduate student well-being. We did a few different initiatives regarding physical well-being, mental health well-being, financial well-being. So we organized the outdoor wellness retreat, We organized workshops related to stress management, also recreational classes that focus on Zumba, yoga, but also introduced new events that really focused on getting students out of UBC campus, like the White Caps and the Golden Eyes subsidized tickets, and also the Puppy Yoga subsidized tickets as well. We also collaborated with the UBC Center for Accessibility, and we hosted an event during orientation, which really focused on accessibility and awareness of that resource to graduate students. And we also provide the center's information on the GSS newsletter and also on our website to promote visibility. We also hosted a tax training clinic to really support graduate students in navigating filing their taxes and really focusing on that financial well-being element. Next slide, please. I think next slide, yeah, NDT or Emily.
Yeah. Sorry guys. So for this one, for this slide, we are advocating for students with families. So we have had conversations with UBC on how to support partners of students who are seeking employment opportunities in Vancouver. So basically that just means getting the spouses or the partners of students who are currently graduate students hired. So whether that is working at UBC or working beyond UBC in order to tackle some of the affordability challenges as a graduate student. Additionally, we're having ongoing conversations with UBC Wellness Center and other offices on campus to booth at Acadia Food Hub to provide support for student families and increase awareness of existing services. So basically kind of doing that connector part of connecting UBC resources to students so they kind of know what's happening around UBC and what sorts of services they can get access to. Next slide, please.
We also participated in federal and provincial lobby weeks in Ottawa and Victoria, asking for student supports to be expanded. We secured interest on our ask for fair working conditions for graduate students, graduate student workers, including unionization rights. We participated in protests and coordinated responses with other student societies and associations in reaction to the BC government's review of post-secondary education, arguing that student support should not, in any circumstances, be cut. We pushed for the protection of the 2% tuition caps. Next slide.
And in terms of professional development and career development, we continued some of our existing initiatives, but also introduced new ones. So we built ties with the UBC alumni, which really supported in the recruitment for volunteers for when we hosted our two mix and mingling networking nights. So one of them included more interdisciplinary fields, and then the second event included more fields related to sustainability and climate change and careers in those industries. We also introduced a collaborative workshop, a collaborative resume building session with the UBC Career Center to help kind of graduate students navigate how to write effective resumes. We also hosted a career development day featuring professionals in higher education and policy related fields. Next slide, please.
Okay, so on the finance side, we focused on two big themes. The first one was improving our internal accounting processes. And the second one was to craft policies to increase the transparency of our operations. Next slide, please. Within the first set of actions that we took, we begin with a transition to having an in-house part-time accountant from a previous bookkeeping service that we had. And this has reduced errors in our monthly accounting processes and has made financial reporting much easier. We also automated the production of monthly financial reports, which has made it much easier to increase transparency and has now been very helpful in preparing the budget for next year. We also worked on a finance and accounting guide, which has helped also just the recording of all of our financial transactions and will prove very useful in the upcoming weeks as we head into the executive transition. Next slide, please. On the other hand, we also created policies for increasing accountability and transparency. First, we proposed new rules for the Executive Professional Development Fund so that any funds that are spent to increase the efficiency of executives are spent fairly and transparently. We also proposed an external organization fee policy that was already approved in council so that the GSS is compensated for admin costs related to the management of funds for external organizations. Next two slides, please.
And then just an overview of the GSS affiliate organizations this year. So the GSS has provided funding support for over 90 events and workshops hosted by our AOs. We also created multiple channels of communication through establishing monthly newsletters and having per term cross AO meetings to kind of just come together and have a conversation on where the term is going and how the GSS can provide support on those avenues. We also received over 10 new affiliate organizations, and we also revised the AO policy, the funding policy for the AOs to really ensure that there's equitable access to the funds across departments and various programs. Next slide, please.
Okay. I guess I'll just quickly go through the highlights in quantitative form for all you quantitative thesis people. The first one is our subsidized meals, the $5 meal plan. We had distributed about 1,300 meals this year. We had about 1,000 students participating in orientation events, and we had more than 50 events organized in 2025. Additionally, we have 150 baby hamper projects that were distributed per month, about 5,000 graduate life center visitors, additionally, as well as 55 active affiliate organizations. Next slide, please. So this slide kind of highlights all the orientation events that we have. So we normally do like a whole week of orientation events, including a collaboration with the graduate and postdoctoral studies. So we have an after party at the Kerner's Pub as well. We have workshops in terms of helping graduate students with disabilities, and we also have a lot of fun events like bowling and collectively watching Whitecap games at a reduced price. Additionally, we have the very popular pancake brunch, and for students with families, we also have a family fun day at Acadia Park where students bring in their dependents, and we have a lot of activities and food and snacks for the kids to enjoy. Next slide, please. So this is just highlights some of our GSS services. So we have the Graduate Student Financial Aid, and this is a hardship fund that basically helps graduate students in a tough situation. The criteria is basically unforeseeable, sorry, circumstances, as well as like anything related to bills like medical bills, housing, or students who are impacted by war and conflict. Additionally, we have the GSS coaching program, which is something that our general manager Vivian leads. She is very passionate about this, and basically, this is just a way to help graduate students with career building and finding their strength in their future workplace. Additionally, we offer peer support, the AMS and GSS Health and Dental Plan. Additionally, we also do a bunch of advocacy. So if students are ever having problems with their supervisors, then they can bring the issues to us. Next slide, please. So this one just highlights one of the really popular events that we have. This is called the Mindfulness Retreat at Gambier Island, and this is just at a reduced cost again for students. Students are really able to kind of reconnect with nature through a bunch of activities, whether that's through meditation, beading, or just learning about or just going on wellness walks around the island. Additionally, students also, do some activities like I call it the flying squirrel. It's like people run and then you like fly up. It's I don't know, there's like a pulley system. It's super fun. Additionally, we have the Graduate Career Development Day, which is also a day kind of for connecting graduate students with working professionals in order to get them hired. Additionally, we also have the Effective Communication Coaching Program, which I mentioned in the previous slide. Next slide, please. Additionally, this is kind of highlighting some of the things that we have. We have a monthly games and movie night. We had the Acadia Food Hub clothing drive. We put out the GSS student satisfaction survey every year. So if you are still around next year, please definitely try to fill it out because the data that you input for us is invaluable in terms of our advocacy. Additionally, we also have holiday hampers. That basically is a hamper project where um, during the holiday season and the back to school season, we put together these like basic kitchen items, household items for students to kind of be able to get a head start for the holidays or for the new year. Other events and programs, we have thesis writing sessions for those people who are not motivated to write their thesis, like me, to basically come together as a community and to just finish, and to grind out their thesis. We have art therapy, led by, coordinators who come in and do a various painting or, painting nights basically, or various like vision boarding and stuff like that. We've also done the William Shakespeare um Bard on the Beach plays. Additionally, we've also had VMO like concert tickets. We had um equity and diversity inclusion workshops as well. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, someone has a question. Should I do that after? Okay, never mind. I'll just let you do that after. Sorry. For those of you guys who are still around next year, like I mentioned, the GSS is a great way to be involved. If you do care about graduate school, and the graduate student experience. So the first way that you can do that is through the work learn positions. So these positions are paid, and we do a few hirings throughout the year, and depending on your passions, you can definitely bring your skills to the GSS, and we need you. Additionally, you can join a committee. We have many committees at the GSS, including Health Finance Committee, Executive Oversight Committee, which basically you get to oversee the executives and make sure that they're doing a good job. Additionally, we have, for example, governance and accountability. And we have a whole plethora of other committees that you can find on our GSS website. So definitely please try and apply. Additionally, you can also be a department rep on the GSS Council, and also you can stay updated by checking the weekly newsletter and social media posts. Next slide, please. Okay, any questions? Perfect. Please direct them to us. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm just going to take the first question there and just read it out from Rainey. Are these events virtual or hybrid, or for those online students, are these events virtual/hybrid? Sorry, that's what it is.
Yeah, I can answer this one. So we try to make our events as inclusive as possible. However, some events are in person just by the pure nature of it. For example, the mindfulness retreat that I mentioned, it happens at Gambier Island, so that is 100% in person. And same with, for example, Whitecap or Philadelphia Games, sorry, Whitecap Games and the Golden Eyes. Those are more in person. However, some of our workshops that are more focused on, for example, resume writing, career development, that kind of thing, those we do offer hybrid versions. So if you do are wanting to attend to one of our events, or if you have any feedback on it for us as an online student, definitely just reach out to us. Yeah, and then we can definitely try to address those needs.
Thank you for that. Would anyone else like to be added to the speakers list to ask questions? Just want to give everyone a chance if they have anything they'd like to say. Yes, go ahead, Rainey. Please, though, next time type speak and your name will be added to the list again, but you may go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that, Aaron. Yeah, I forgot the rules. Apologize. I have a bunch of other questions. This is my first meeting that I'm attending. I'm a second year master student, kind of. I started with a certificate program, but um, how can I connect with you guys after this meeting? Because I don't want to take up 100 students' time that's not relevant to them.
Yeah, so absolutely. If you have any questions, feel free to direct it to just president at
Okay.
gss.ubc.ca, and then
Okay.
also CC Maria, who is our admin assistant, so AA at gss.ubc.ca.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your interest.
Thank you for that. Would anyone else like to speak? Going once, going twice. Okay, I am seeing none, so we can move forward. Thank you so much. Um, we do have a comment in there. May I go by that? And we will continue moving forward towards the financial statement and audit report for 2025. This will be presented by Cesar. I will again show the slides and then we can go from there unless you would like to do it otherwise, Cesar.
Might be easier for me to share screen, so I
Okay,
can
yeah,
just
absolutely. I'll stop sharing
click
and
next.
you may go ahead.
Okay.
And whenever you're ready,
I
go.
think
Feel free.
you need to enable screen sharing for me.
Maybe Maria or Anna. I don't know if I'm able to do that from my
Got it.
position.
I can do it now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. I think everyone should be able to see my screen now. So I'm gonna explain briefly what the purpose of this presentation is. So I'm going to present the findings of the independent audit conducted by Tompkins Boston for the fiscal year ending in May 31st, 2025. That date is correct. This is for the fiscal year that ended last year. So this relates to the financial performance of the previous executives in the GSS. We have to do this because the BC Societies Act requires us to report annually on these audited financial statements for the AGM. And just one more thing. So obviously this does not reflect the current performance of the organization. And if you're interested in hearing about the performance of the GSS, you can attend the next council meeting, during which I will be having a presentation on this. So broadly, there was an increase in assets and liabilities. However, a big chunk of this increase in liabilities was due to a delay in the payment at the end of the fiscal year. This is something that we've noticed for this year, so that we actually pay ahead all the wages before we finish the fiscal year, so that that is correctly recorded. There was also an increase in the assets and overall a surplus of almost $35,000 for the year. Diving into the key revenue streams and expenses, we had a pretty stable amount coming from membership fees, but a big increase in income from UBC grants. So the previous executives did a really great job in applying for and obtaining grants that have allowed us to conduct more programs and events for graduate students. We have had slightly lower rental revenue because the ballroom set of offices that the GSS owns in the Thea Kerner House, the ballroom rental ended in November 2024. And so that resulted in a reduction in revenues for that fiscal year. In terms of expenses, there was a big increase in expenses for student programs, which is directly linked to the increase in grant revenue. Professional fees and executive honoraria and salaries. Honoraria was pretty stable, but there was an increase in salaries, again, related to this increase in grants, because many of these grants were linked to the hiring of additional labor to execute projects. Professional fees went down, and we've also observed this downwards trajectory this year. And the result was that there was a 20% increase in total expenses from 2024. The auditors issue broad report and their opinion on what our operations look like. And they reported that they didn't encounter any significant difficulties during the audit, that the financial statements present fairly in all material respects, that we don't have any significant changes in our accounting policies, and that all uncorrected misstatements were corrected by the management. So these are mostly accounting mistakes that happened under our previous bookkeeping service. We expect the number of similar mistakes to drastically lower throughout the year now that we have an internal in-house part-time accountant. The main findings and suggestions were related to missing timely reviews of bank reconciliations, which we plan to do throughout the next year, and a limitation in the internal segregation of duties. More work remains to be done on this end, and we will have discussions in the House Finance Committee to think about what the best way of organizing our accounting and finance team is. Yeah, so basically these are the recommendations I just outlined, that we ensure that monthly bank reconciliations are reviewed by management, that we improve our general bookkeeping practices. Now, these recommendations come almost a year after the event. So I believe we've made significant progress on this end, and implement some governance improvements to ensure that certain transfers are clearly included in the minutes and that there is a clear separation of financial duties. We're also working on this ahead of next year. And I think that is all. Oh, no. So to conclude, we remain financially stable and started the fiscal year with a surplus of $30,000. We acknowledge the auditor's findings and are planning a remediation plan. And we believe that we're in a good position going into next year. So now I open the floor to any questions from the AGM.
Thank you for that. If anyone would like to be added to a speakers list, please just type in chat, speak, and we will do so. Yes, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, hi, thanks. It's Ronnie.
Right. Yeah.
I'm also part of the GSNA as finance officer. May I ask if this budget includes those monies as well?
Hey, Rani. Yeah, this budget includes those funds. And the biggest change that we are going to have in our budget for next year is to clearly differentiate those
Oh,
restricted
okay.
funds from our unrestricted operational funds. Because
Okay,
right now,
perfect.
whenever we report on any budget or financial processes, we are confounding that sort of income that has to go to a specific expense with more broadly the assets we have that we can freely manage.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're also reporting your affiliates information as well, is what I'm understanding.
Only for
We can talk
those whose
offline,
funds we
sorry.
manage. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah, we can speak offline. Thank you so much.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you for that. Would anyone else like to be added to the speakers list? Um, no worries. Is anyone else wanting to be on the list? Want to give a fair shot to everyone while being mindful of the time? Ten more seconds. All right. With that, thank you for that, Cesar. We may continue.
Thanks, Aaron.
Just quickly share the screen again. And with that, actually, with that, we are on our last bit. We're at adjournment. Be it resolved, there being no further business. The meeting can be adjourned at 6:21 p.m. Could I please get a mover? Thank you. In a sec. Thank you. Quick launch of a poll. The motion. I guess would anyone like to speak on it? I did forget to ask that. Don't worry if you continue voting, but if someone would like to speak on it to keep us here forever or a bit longer, or if you have any other questions pertaining to adjournments. Okay, I'm gonna give the or forgot to hit start. We're gonna go for another about 20 seconds or so. 10 seconds. Okay, thank you for that. Ending the poll, and the motion is carried. So we have now adjourned. Thank you so much, folks, for coming by the AGM. Appreciate all of the questions and the help. And I will now pass it off to, I believe, Anna, who will be running through the draw.
Yeah, sounds good. I think Francis has, the wheel going. So we'll just start going through the list of prizes. Um, if your name gets called for the draw, please send a message to Francis or me. We should have your email, but we may not for sure have it. So just like send a message with your email address just so that we for sure have a way to contact you. With that, we will start with our first prize, which is a $25 gift card. That goes to Adrienne. And our next gift or our next prize, next few prizes are all $25 gift cards. So it'll be a bit of a list. Congratulations, Mohammed. And the next person on our list is again somebody who gets a $25 gift card. We have Vincent Federley. And just as mentioned in the chat, you can email aa@gss.ebc.ca to in case you miss messaging me or Francis through the chat. Our next prize, again, $25 gift card. I swear I'll switch it up next time. Congrats to Isabella. And our next prize is 2 Whitecaps tickets. So this will be to any Whitecaps game in the regular season. Congrats to Isabel Jacobson. And I'm bringing you back to the $25 gift cards. Congrats to Ed. We'll do another $25 gift card. Congrats to Sarah. And the next prize will be a $50 gift card. Congrats. And we'll do one more $50 gift card. Congrats to Diane. And the next prize is a pair of Sony wireless Bluetooth earbuds. Congrats to Daniel. We have 2 more $25 gift cards, so we'll go through those. This is gift card number 1. Congrats to Vishak. And then the next $25 gift card. Congrats to Samuel. All right. We have a few more $50 gift cards, so we'll go with those. The next $50 gift card goes to Nicole. Congrats. And then The next $50 gift card Telepreet. Congrats. All right, we have one more $50 gift card, and then my favorite prize is last. Congrats to Nawaf. And finally, we have one more gift or one more prize, which is a Kobo e-reader. Congrats to Eva Friedman. All right. That is the end of our prizes. Thank you all for attending. Much appreciated spending your Tuesday evening listening to us. If you aren't sure how to claim your prize, we can also email you, but it's also best to email Maria directly at aa@gss.ubc.ca.